This is my, well, I almost said this is my new kitchen, but we've been living here for almost exactly 2 years now. But anyway, I painted the walls my favorite shade of purple. So, and if you look at the shelves here, I'm just going to start by pointing out these jars that you'll see in these shelves right here. These were pickle jars. I bought them specifically for the jars. I mean, the pickles are fine too. We ate the pickles and we're continuing to eat these pickles. And then I washed the jars out very thoroughly and carefully. And they're absolutely perfect for these shelves. They are like just ever so slightly shorter, so they fit perfectly in these shelves, and it's just so satisfying. Okay, anyway, now that I have geeked out over jar size, yeah, you may notice that in general, I repurpose a lot of jars to keep my bulk dry goods. It's a lot cheaper than buying jars, and also, yeah, I can get like really big jars like this basically for free. Just, you know, the labor of washing them out. So let's go ahead and start with this shelf. This is sort of my bulk dry goods that I tend to eat a lot of. So I'm gonna want to keep more of it on hand at any given time at my house. It's not organized perfectly at the moment, and again, part of that is just because like I don't have all of the jars yet. But this is what we've got for now. It's a work in progress. So top shelf, we have Calrose rice, basmati rice, chickpeas. This is like one of our most frequently eaten legume. Mostly what I do with chickpeas is I turn them into falafel. It is a delicious food that both my husband and I really like, and I can make it with just chickpeas and herbs like parsley or kale that I grow in the garden. And in a pinch, I mean, I could use just the spices from my pantry. I wouldn't even need to necessarily use fresh onion and garlic. It's so much better with fresh onion and garlic, but in a pinch, all you really need are chickpeas, spices, and oil. And you can make, and like something green from your garden, and you can make falafel. So it's a really nice, cheap staple to fall back on. Next to that, we have, these are not labeled, but these are jasmine rice. And I have jasmine rice in 2 jars, actually 3 jars, because I also have lurking in the back of this corner here the rest of the giant bag of jasmine rice. And then as you'll notice over here, I've got 1 box of Annie's. My husband likes this, so I keep it on hand usually, and a bunch of ramen. Now, usually I just use the noodles in ramen, and then I save the seasoning packet and I use it in other recipes. That's in a different shelf. We might as well move on to this shelf while we're here. This is sort of my Asian shelf, but also miscellaneous. You'll see I have a box of coconut milk and a box of soy milk here. I've got 3 cans of coconut cream, some dried mushrooms, some MSG, more dried mushrooms in a repurposed jar, a bottle of hoisin sauce that's not yet open, sesame seeds, and then behind that we've got, this is panko breadcrumbs, and this is all dark, so I'll bring it out. This is wakame, dried seaweed. That's a way of having like a dry vegetable in your pantry. It's kind of overflowing, as you can see. Let's go back to this shelf, because I technically didn't finish. The lower shelf, we have some pasta. I've got currently some macaroni, some linguine, not buttered noodles. These probably will be turned into buttered noodles at some point. They're egg noodles. And spiral pasta. I try to keep some kind of short pasta on hand and some sort of long pasta on hand. A little jar of arborio rice. I mostly use this to make rice pudding occasionally, sometimes risotto. That's why I don't keep that much of it. Also, it's expensive for rice. This is a little black rice. And then these are brown rices. Incidentally, I get all these bulk goods at Winco, because it's pretty cheap if you get them at Winco, and you can get exactly as much as you want. You don't have to get like a giant bag of everything. And then up here I have mostly legumes, and I also, behind these jars, I have overflow amounts of the legumes. Red beans, black beans, split peas, white beans. This is popcorn. I'm keeping a little more popcorn behind this one. Red lentils, brown lentils. These are chia seeds, hemp hearts, and ground almonds, or almond meal, I guess I should say. And then beneath that I have nuts and dried fruit, and this section is usually more fully stocked in the colder months because I like to eat nuts and dried fruit more during that time of the year. But anyway, we've got pumpkin seeds, cherries, cashews, peanuts, pecans, almonds, candied ginger, and hazelnuts. Up here, this shelf is kind of more like my baking shelf. So up at the top, I've got instant mashed potatoes. I use this mostly to bake bread. Oatmeal, I've got like 2 jars of that. Powdered milk, I also have 2 jars of that. This is whole wheat flour. I also have a secondary jar of that. Again, I use that mostly in bread baking. This is sweetened shredded coconut, semolina flour, and polenta. And then this shelf is where I have the much bigger containers of things, sugar and flour and cornmeal and brown sugar. And that's going to be mostly for bread and cake and cookie baking. And then here I have also more things for baking for the most part. I have things like espresso powder and cocoa powder and baking powder and vanilla extract. I always get this at Costco because it's such a good deal. It's like 20 bucks for this giant thing of vanilla. Cornstarch. Usually I keep graham crackers on hand for crusts. You have chocolate chips. And then up here I have, again, more ingredients for baking. Mostly I've got rose water, honey, pomegranate molasses, corn syrup, molasses, and 2 different kinds of peanut butter because my husband likes the chunky kind, which is inferior, and I like the creamy kind, which is superior. This is a bunch of cat food because we've got cats. This is our oil and vinegar shelf, more or less. This is leftover fry oil that I recycle. This is clean vegetable oil. We've got olive oil, and then hot sauce, rice wine vinegar, more hot sauce, coconut oil, mutine, sriracha, white wine vinegar, sesame oil, red wine vinegar, more rice wine vinegar, just overflow, balsamic vinegar. I know this says Calabrian chili peppers, but it's actually chili oil, and apple cider vinegar. And then this is our canned goods shelf, and also mustard and ketchup. Kind of miscellaneous, mostly canned goods. So there's a little nook back here that's kind of short and in the dark. That's sort of just for extra stuff. But we've got some canned tuna for my husband, sweet relish, canned olives, a bunch of canned tomatoes. Like, that's one thing I like to keep a bunch of on hand because they're so versatile and I use them in so many different recipes. This is just some fire roasted green chilies. I use these mostly in queso. And then I have a lot of cans of just plain evaporated milk. I like to put this in my tea. And then a jar unopened of Calabrian chilies. This was like a very bougie purchase that I made a while ago when we weren't so poor. But I still have it, and then I can use it at some point. Tomato paste. And then hiding in the back we've got sweetened condensed milk. Another sweetened condensed milk. I like to keep these on hand, especially in the summer, because I put them in my Thai iced tea. And then I got 1 can of dulce de leche. And then here I have some homegrown dried herbs that I grew myself and I also dried. I've got mint, stevia, more stevia. These are magnolia blossoms. I thought that I would be making tea with them, but I haven't. I dried these a year ago and I haven't used them yet. I better do that. In the back there's just these 2 jars in the back are lemon balm. They're just like, we have so much lemon balm growing on this property that I'm never gonna run out. And then the stuff back here, it's mullein. It's a native plant, I believe. I don't actually know if it's native or not. But anyway, we have a volunteer of it growing in our backyard, and I harvest it and dry it. And if you brew this into tea, it's really good for like upper respiratory congestion. And then down here, it's unlabeled, but it's dried lemongrass. And then this is catnip that I've grown and dried. And then this is my tea shelf mostly. I've got just a big variety of caffeinated teas mostly, and decaffeinated teas, including bulk loose leaf tea and Thai tea mix. Overflow pantry, more cat food. We have a lot of cats. A giant bulk Honey Bunches of Oats cereal from Costco. We did a price comparison recently, and indeed, Costco cereal, name brand stuff, is about the same price as the store brand cereal from Winco. Like, Winco is ever so slightly cheaper still, but like, it's a pretty good deal. And then over here, my spice shelves. I have like another video that I made years ago about all the kinds of different spices I keep, and that video is pretty much still about the same for me right now. But anyway, lots of spices that I have put in repurposed jars, a bunch of cereal from Winco, some junk food for my husband, and some more cat food and junk food. Like I said, we're very organized here. Oh yeah, and then these shells, this is like, I should probably throw some of this away, honestly. It's very, very old cake decoration stuff, like sprinkles, and like, I don't know, my cake decoration days are kind of behind me, and I actually don't like cakes so much anymore as I used to, so I don't even know if I'm going to use these. I'm just holding on to them because I'm poor, and when you're poor, you hold on to things because you never know if you might need it someday, so I have them still. I don't think they go bad, really. They're just like sugar. And then this shelf is mostly like extracts. You've got hazelnut extract, almond extract, which I hate, but my husband doesn't mind, and some lavender, which again, I grew and dried out myself, and then like knife sharpening kit. So anyway, that's my pantry. It's by no means like a survivalist apocalypse pantry, but like this is a very basic, like, if society shut down and like we couldn't go to the store anymore or whatever, like we could legitimately eat pretty well for a month or two off of everything we have in the pantry combined with the stuff that we currently have in our freezers. We bought a quarter of a cow with our upstairs neighbors last year, and we are sharing it in a freezer in the garage right now, and so we also have like a lot of frozen beef as well. So anyway, these are just some ideas if you want to stock your pantry, or if you just wanted to snoop around and see what I keep in my pantry. Stay safe, y'all, and let's try to make it through this together.